Good morning, dear students. Welcome to my class. Today our theme is culture as a complex concept. Let me introduce you with the plan of the lesson. Today we're gonna have a general information about culture, and we will talk about communication in the cultural diverse workplace. You will learn 10 tips for cross-cultural communication, and of course you have general information about 6 steps to intercultural communication. When interacting with other people, we bring with us an array of assumptions, values, and beliefs. As communities and the workforce become increasingly diverse, it is more important than ever to learn how to interact with a range of people different from us in many ways. The benefits of communicating with a varied range of cultures are immense, as we can learn much from others. This article explains more about human behavior and provides some tips for communicating effectively with people from other cultures. Working with other people is not always easy, and it can be especially difficult when working within a group which is culturally diverse. Everything you say, how you say it, when you say it, where you say it, all reveal more than you realize about you and your cultural background. That is why interacting with such a range of people can be so challenging. There are many cultural nuances that act as barriers which get in the way of communication and cause discomfort or ill feeling between people. Unfortunately, human nature causes us to use these barriers to assume and form prejudice before getting to know the individuals. So let's talk about culture first. What is culture? Culture is a complex concept with many different definitions. However, it can be defined simply as a group of community with which we share common experience and which influences how we relate to the world. The groups include demographic or social groups such as race, religion, color, gender, country of birth, age, physical or mental ability, education, economic status, class and geographic origin. Differences between and within these groups are often regarded as barriers to effective interaction. However, with the increasing integration of different cultures, languages, values, and beliefs in the workplace, it is more important than ever to understand, emphasize with and embrace these differences in order to interact effectively. Okay, our next stage will be about communication in the culturally diverse workplace. So, communication in the workplace is more difficult than ever because of the growing numbers of minority groups entering the workforce. Language barriers and cultural misunderstandings can often get in the way of effective communication. So it is important to develop expertise in cross-cultural communication. Barriers can be conquered with patience, tolerance, and understanding. In order to overcome such kind of barriers, we have to talk about some tips for improving communication between cultures. We need to use a variety of communication methods. Written and visual materials can be used to clarify verbal content. And we need to respond to what is being said, not how it is said. We need to use language that is inclusive to be inclusive. We need to avoid using slang, jargon, acronyms, or give clear explanations of them. We need to talk about one topic at a time. We need to use straightforward sentences and speak clearly. We need to use familiar words and repeat important messages if necessary. And when necessary, we need to check for understanding by asking the other person to restate the key points. While having a speech or conversation with someone other. We need to ask for clarification instead of making assumptions when unsure about what the speaker means. We need to be aware that some people need time to mentally translate from their first language, particularly conceptual or abstract language. We need to be aware that a natural communication style is characterized by idiom, colloquialism, slang, and rapid delivery. The style can build rapport and create solidarity in a monocultural setting. And at last, we need to provide opportunities for people to develop their language skills and interact with people from different cultures. And further, I would like to talk about top 10 tips for cross-cultural communication. So I have given the list of the top 10 tips, but now I would like to give a general information about each of that tips. The first one, maintain etiquette. In many cultures have specific etiquette around the way they communicate. Before you meet, research the target culture, or if time allows, do some cross-cultural training. For example, many cultures expect a degree of formality at the beginning of communication between individuals. Every culture has its own specific way of indicating formality. For example, in Germany, they are used to say Herr and Frau. Reversing family and given names in China, the use of san in Japan for men and women, etc. So we need to be aware of these familiarity tokens, and we don't need to jump straight to first name until you receive a cue from other person to do so. The next tip for effective communication is avoiding a slang. Not even the most educated non-native English speaker will have a comprehensive understanding of English slang, idioms, and sayings. They may understand the individual words you have said, but not the context or the meaning. As a result, you could end up confusing them or, at worst, offending them. So, the third tip of effective communication is to speak slowly. Even if English is a common language in a cross-cultural situation, it's not a good idea to speak at your normal conversation speed. Modulating your pace will help, as will speaking clearly and pronouncing your words properly. Break your sentences into short, definable sections and give your listener time to translate and digest your words as you go. But don't slow down too much, as it might seem patronizing. If the person you are speaking to is taking too quickly, or their accent is making it difficult for you to understand them, don't be afraid to politely ask them to slow down too. The fourth tip is called keep it simple. In a cross-cultural conversation, there is no need to make it harder for both of you by using big words. Just keep it simple, as English people do. Two-syllable words are much easier to understand than three-syllable words, and one-syllable words are better than two-syllable words. Say please do this quickly rather than please do this in an efficient manner. The next tip is to practice active listening. So active listening is a very effective strategy for improving cross-cultural communication. Restate or summarize what the other person has said to ensure that you have understood them correctly, and ask frequent questions. This helps build rapport and ensures that important information doesn't get missed or misunderstood. You need to build trust and establish rapport. Ask specific questions. So active listening techniques can help you truly understand what people are saying in conversations and meetings. So the sixth tip of effective communication is taking turns to talk. Now, I would like you to imagine the situation in which we, the members of the conversation, are talking at one time. What kind of conversation will it be? Meaningless. So in order to have an effective communication, we need to take a turn to talk. Make the conversation flow more freely by taking it in turns to speak. Make a point and then listen to the other person respond. Particularly when people are speaking English as their second language, it is better to talk to them in short exchanges rather than delivering a long monologue that might be difficult for them to follow. The tip number 7. Write things down. If you are not sure whether the other person has understood you properly, write it down to make sure. This can be particularly helpful when discussing large figures. Here I would like to give you some examples. So, dear students, I would like to check your memory. Now, in front of you, you have a picture. $1 billion. So, imagine yourself such kind of situation. The situation is you are going to sign a contract which costs $1 billion with a business partners from United Kingdom and United States of America. So as a director of the company, it's your choice to decide whether to sign with a British company or with a USA company. Now the question, which one would you like to choose? And what will happen in the result? You have 30 seconds to think about and make a decision. Then after 30 seconds left, let me know about it. Now start counting the time. Okay, so dear students, now tell me your answers. First of all, I would like to show you how $1 billion looks. So you have a picture in front of you. And now count how many zeros in $1 billion. So dear students, now I beg your pardon, I have made a wrong example. I should have compare English billion system and German billion system, because there is some differences of billion system in English and in German. So English billion system consists of 9 zeros, while the German billing system consists of 12 zeros. So, as a director of a company, and you are going to make a business contract which costs $1 billion, and the members of the company are from Germany and English, it will be better for you to choose the German company, because in an English system it will be $1 trillion. So the eighth tip for effective communication: we should avoid closed questions. So don't phrase a question that needs only yes or no answer. In many cultures, it is difficult or embarrassing to answer in the negative, so you will always get a yes. Even the real answer is no. Ask open-ended questions that require information as response instead. The next tip for effective communication is called "be careful with humor." Many cultures take business very seriously and believe in behaving professionally and following protocol at all times. Consequently, they don't appreciate the use of humor and jokes in a business context. If you do decide to use humor, make sure it will be understood and appreciated in the other culture and not cause offense. Be aware that British sarcasm usually has a negative effect abroad. The last tip of effective communication is being supportive. Effective cross-cultural communication is about all parties feeling comfortable. In any conversation with a non-native English speaker, treat them with respect. Do your best to communicate clearly and give them encouragement when they respond. This will help build their confidence and trust in you. In today's diverse workplace, communication issues can take on an added dimension of complexity. Every culture has its own set of tacit assumptions and tendencies when it comes to face-to-face interactions, and trying to get your point across effectively can sometimes be difficult. Even when a language barrier doesn't exist, cross-cultural communication can be challenging. When we are talking about cross-cultural communication, we need to talk about 6 steps to intercultural communication. Now, dear students, I'm gonna to give you a general information about 6 steps to intercultural communication. So, from this posture, you can easily guess that the first step that we are going to talk is about language. So, language proficiency affects every aspect of a person's life. Lack of fluency in the predominant language of the workplace has a major impact on people's ability to get information about work and conditions, negotiate the recruitment and selection process successfully, and participate fully in the workplace and social activities. The next step is about status, society status. Most cultures include a social hierarchy which can create issues in workplace communications. For example, it may be the case that men from some cultural backgrounds will not adapt easily to working equally with women or having female supervisors. Or someone from an upper class background may have difficulty taking orders from someone from a lower class background. Understanding the relationship between the genders and the roles assigned in various cultures will provide an insight into how staff from particular cultural groups might work in a given situation. So the next step of the communication is body language. From this picture you can read the body language of each person. As we have mentioned before, we are not only communicate with the verbal aspects of language, we also communicate with the non-verbal aspects of the language. Our body language, as some scholars say, contains 70% of the communication in our day-to-day life. So cultural differences in non-verbal behaviors are an extremely common source of misunderstandings and conflict in the workplace, because the body language differs from place to place, from nation to nation, from country to country, from people to people, and so on. For instance, in the West, eye contact is interpreted as an indication of interest, credibility, and honesty. If there is a lack of eye contact, it can be interpreted as shiftiness, coldness, and disinterest. However, in some cultures, averted eyes are a sign of courtesy and respect. So we need to be aware of these distinctions that will help to reduce negative impressions in our intercultural communication. Here I would like to add some more examples. You see, body language are developing day by day all around the world. It replaces each other with different meaning all around the world. For example, here I would like to give an example of body language of Turkish people and Kazakh. So now, dear students, watch these videos that describes us Turkish body language, Turkish gestures.
Hello guys, merhaba. Today I want to show you Turkish gestures. Some of these gestures are unique to Turkey and Turkish people, while some of them are probably used in your country as well. So let's start with the first one. Pardon. Pardon. So when you're eating in a Turkish restaurant, if you see people who pretend to write on ear, do not be surprised because it's the gesture that is used to ask the check from the waiter. So you just pretend to write on ear, like this, and then they will bring you the check. So putting the right hand on heart is used to greet people in Turkey. So you can basically put your right hand on your chest when you want to greet someone. But it's not the only use of this gesture. We also use this when we want to thank someone or when we want to say no to someone in a polite way. For example, would you like to eat some chocolate? Yok, sağ ol. Do you want to drink tea? Yok, eyvallah. Got fear? You're scared, right? So basically we use this gesture when we are challenging someone to do something scary or difficult. For example, I know you love that girl, but can you talk to her? So in Turkey, it's believed that when you're talking about something bad, it might be a cancer, a bankruptcy, or maybe an accident, you should do this gesture to avoid that bad event. And it's very easy. You pull your ear and do this, and then you knock on a solid material like a table, for example. There might So this is an interesting gesture that is very useful actually. When you do this, it means, I swear I don't have money. I'm so broke. And it is very effective for friends who want to borrow money from you. Can you give me 100 lira? I don't have any money.
So, dear students, I have consulted internet resources and couldn't find any Kazakh people identical body language, but as a representative of Kazakh nation, I can say that there are a lot of and we do use it in our day-to-day life. So the next step of communication is personal space. So we all know that personal space is the way how we act with different type of people. People from different social and cultural backgrounds may have different comfort zones, as it is shown in the picture. We have divided 3 zones of personal space. The first one is social zone, the second is a personal zone, and the last one is intimate zone. So comfort zones, some may like more distance, some may prefer to get close. Continually invading another individual's personal space can cause discomfort and may be construed as a harassment in some cultures. So it is important to understand and observe this when interacting with other people. And here in this picture I would like to show you how will some feel himself or herself when the personal space is broken. So here you can see that the man is too close to the girl, and the girl or woman is feeling some discomfort. So this step of communication should be kept in our social comfort zone. The next step of intercultural communication that we should be aware when we are abroad or when we are interacting in a cross-cultural communication is religion. So in many cultures, religion dominates life in a way that may be difficult to understand. The needs associated with religious commitments have to be understood, respected, and sensitively negotiated within the workplace. For example, some religions must refrain from working on certain days or times, such as holidays. Clear communication on both sides about these issues should be encouraged. So we have talked about holy days. So from the religious point of view, we should respect such kind of values, religious values of each nation, of each culture. So as you know, our republic is religious country. We have a lot of religious point of view, and we do respect each religious traditions, customs. For example, as a Islamic world, we do have Islamic holidays like Qurban Night, Waraza, and so on. And doesn't matter whether we are having a Qurban Night holiday on working day of the week, that day or the first day of the Qurban Night holiday will be marked as a days off. So we celebrate Qurban Night because Qurban Night is an Islamic religious holiday, and we celebrate it for 3 days in October. And also, as a Christianity, we do have a Easter Day on our calendar. So those who practice Christianity, they do celebrate this holiday in our country, and this is very common. We do, as a monocultural country, mono-religious country, we do live in friendship with each other. So the next step to intercultural communication is personal appearance. Now, in this point of our lecture, we will talk about the power of personal appearance. Grooming, like this one, is very important in our society. So if you will dress it on or groom it like this, you will have more success in your workplace. So if you will groom it like this one, I think you will be less successful. This is my point of opinion. So eating habits also and dress vary in our country between cultures. Some people may choose to wear their national dress or religious garments to work. For example, here I would like to talk about the situation in Turkmenistan. So I think traditional way of dressing clothes is still kept in Turkmenistan. The color, the style of wearing gives us information about the status of the people. For example, here we see the girls in green, and I'm not sure about the information that I am talking about, but let me guess that in this picture we can observe the school pupils, while the girls in red one, I think they are the students of the high school or colleges. So if I have made some misunderstandings and some confusions, Turkmen students can correct me. So in this picture we can observe about the style of wearing clothes of boys. So they have special head wearings that they have to wear in their day-to-day life, of course. This is also the element of their traditional style of dress that is kept in their life nowadays. And here in this point, or in this part of our lecture, I would also like to comment about the dress codes. Dress codes is not only the traditional way of wearing clothes, it is also a unique system of our social organization. We all know that there are a lot of specialities that wear special dress codes, like firefighters, police officers, doctors or nurses, or even teachers, or even in a different sphere